as the agriculture has different types of techniques, the one technique is the shifting agriculture. Now the name itself suggests us that in this the shifting of the land has been taken place. If some particular land is being under cultivation, after the production and after the harvesting, that land is kept temporarily shallow. It is being kept temporarily vacant so as to increase the fertility, and the production is done on some other crop. The shifting of the land is done, hence it is called as shifting agriculture. Let us study this type of agriculture in detail. Shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation is a type of agricultural system in which a plot of land are cultivated temporarily, then abandoned and allowed to revert to their natural vegetation while the cultivator moves on to another plot. So temporarily the plot is kept vacant after the cultivation so as to revert its natural vegetation, and the cultivator moves to some other plot for some period of time. Shifting cultivation systems are ecological viable as long as there is enough land for long 10 to 20 years restorative fallow, and expectations of crop yield and the attendant standard of living are not too high. So this type of people, their standard of living is not good or not too high. They keep the land under cultivation for 10 to 20 years, then they keep it for fallow, and the expectations of the crop yield is not too much high. These systems are naturally suited for harsh environments and fragile ecosystem of the tropics. That is why attempts at finding viable alternatives to shift cultivation have met with only limited success. So wherever the environment or the climatic conditions are harsh, they are not suitable, or the ecosystem is fragile, or the soil is not good, so at that particular place, this type of agriculture or this type of cultivation is being done. These constraints leads to severe problems of soil degradation upon conservation from shifting cultivation to mechanized intensive agriculture. Consequently, many large-scale mechanized farming schemes introduced in the humid tropics have been a failure. Now, stages of shifting cultivation. The first stage of shifting cultivation is the removal of natural forest. This involves cutting and usually burning process that have generated the term slash and burn. So the first stage is what? Removal of natural forest. Whatever naturally production is done on that land, that is first removed, the cutting is done, then the burning process is done, hence it is also called as slash and burn. Good management involves selective rather than complete tree removal. Trees that produce a fruit or oil crop or provide fodder and shelter as well as firewood are retained. They provide protection from the soil and a source of seed for forest renewal after cultivation is abundant. So they select the trees during the removal of trees. The useful trees like fruits, oil crop or the fodder crops, shelter which provides firewood, such trees are retained. They are not cut down, and rest of the trees are being cut down. Controlled firing clears surface twigs and ground plants. Species is the best undertaken towards the end of the dry season so that crop plantation can take the advantage of first rain. So basically all this procedure is done in the dry season. So once the summer season is finished, that land or that plantation or that crop which they are going to grow, that can take the advantage of first rain or the rainy season. The burning of biomass, that is the organic material of the vegetation, creates the ash, the nutrients in which are generally soluble and so they can enter the soil with percolating rainwater. So whenever the burning is done, all the ash that has been created, the biomass and the organic material which has been created, it gets percolated inside the soil again. Because of that, it can gain its fertility. Thus, burning speeds up nutrient cycle in the ecosystem by accelerating their release from the biomass, which would otherwise decompose relatively slowly. So, burning of the crops or burning of the forest land also accelerates the fertility of that particular soil. Immediately following firing, the land is at its most fertile because of its nutrient availability. But the soil is at its most vulnerable because the lack of vegetation cover exposes it to impact of wind as well as rain. So when the advantage of burning is it gains its fertility, it gains its nutrients. But the disadvantage is what? Whenever the soil is not covered with the vegetation, it is being eroded or the erosion takes place because of the agents like wind and rain. At this stage, the erosion should be minimized through the maintenance of some type of natural vegetation. The trees referred to above are rapid crop planting. Other soil conversion measures include setting of logs or soil dams horizontally where land is sloping. These measures contribute to equally important management of nutrients. So as the soil is empty, there are no crops. Because of that, the erosion takes place. So you can minimize the erosion, you can conserve the soil by sitting on logs or soil dams horizontally wherever there are slopes so as to preserve the nutrients and to avoid the soil erosion. Now let us see what is the process. First of all, you can see in the figure 1, there is the land which is covered totally by forest. Now these are the forest plants which we do not need. So first these forest lands they are being cut down. So removal of organic carbon. Now initially you get oxygen as well as CO2 from the plants. You get the oxygen from the air and carbon dioxide from the plants. Later on when you cut down the trees, the presence of CO2 is there. Later on, after cutting, what I said that after cutting, the burning is done, slash and burn. So burning also releases carbon dioxide. After burning, export of nutrients, cultivation for few years. So you crop or you cultivate, start cultivating the new crop. After that, for longer period, the soil is being degraded long period to re-establish the natural cycle. So again, after this crop, you are going to keep the land vacant. You are going to keep the land fallow for longer period so as to re-establish its nutrients. And again, the same cycle or the nearby same cycle is going to repeat. Again, the plants will be grown, they will be cut down. Again, they will be burned, then the new plants will be cultivated. After that, the soil will be kept fallow or the soil will be kept vacant so as to regain its nutrients and its fertility. This is the process how the shifting agriculture is basically done. Now, what are the features of shifting cultivation? The parts of the trees are cut down and burned in rotation. So this process is done in rotation. First it is cut down, then it is burned. Seeds are sown in the ash after the first monsoon rainfall. It's harvested in September and October. So before the rainfall, before the first rainfall only, the seeds are being sown so as they can take the advantage of first rain. And the harvestation process is done in the month of September to October. The land is cultivated for a couple of years and it remains and or till it retains its fertility, the land is left fallow. So it is cultivated and after that it is kept fallow till it retains the fertility. Vegetation is cleared by slashing and burning. So slash and burn is the main purpose of shifting agriculture. There is the use of little or more manure. So natural manure you get when you burn in the biogas or the organic nutrients you get. So even the use of little manure or no manure is also done. The yields decline after a certain period of continuous use. As the yields are continuous, the quality is getting declined because of the continuity of production. Now let us see the advantage of shifting cultivation. The best position of the shifting cultivation is on the land of the hills is to provide the straightforward and high-speed method of preparation of the area for agriculture. Basically, the land on the side of the hill is being chosen for this type of agriculture. The waste material of the field, that is the bush and the weeds, can be removed quickly and they can be burned easily and can be obtaining The beneficial things for the cultivation. So basically all the bush and weeds, they can be burnt up easily and they can be removed easily, which are beneficial for the cultivation also. In the shifting cultivation, the growth of crops will start fast and sometimes only it will get ready for the harvest. In this shifting of cultivation, there is no fear or danger for the flood and the animals which destroy the crops. So in this type of agriculture, there is no danger or the uh, problem of the flood calamities or the animals coming and destroying the crops. On the hills, there are streams of mountains that provide the water to the crops easily on the regular and reasonable rates. So, on the mountains, on the hilly areas, the streams of the water is being provided to the crop on the regular basis. Now, what are the disadvantage of this cultivation? The most important disadvantage of shifting cultivation is to cut the forest and the trees that are very helpful for the soil erosion, and that is very helpful for the nature also. So this is the biggest disadvantage of shifting cultivation, that the forest has been cut down, and it is biggest disadvantage also. By this, there can be the heavy erosions of the soil is getting affected, and by this, the rivers that are in the plains and low-lying areas like Brahmaputra and Barak get flooded in the time of the heavy rainfall. So, if the trees are being cut, the water there is no stop to the water. Because of this, the rivers they get flooded, as all the water it comes directly down in the valley. By shifting cultivation, there is the loss of 22% of soil that is on the top of the soil and full of fertility. So whenever this type of process is done, cutting down, burning, because of this 22% of the surface soil gets totally into loss. This creates a serious problem in the economic rate of the peoples. In this, there is re-rendered permanent land in the shifting cultivation. Because of this, there are various serious problems which is created throughout the economic purpose also. Hence, there is a re-rendered permanent land in the shifting cultivation. Thank you for watching.